Okay, and actually it's a great timing for this panel because we're going to talk about human and leisure. And after a lot of presentation, we know that we're going to live quite long after our working day. So probably we have much more time for leisure, for travel, for sport, for entertainment, and we'll certainly will care more about health. Oh, the one who late. And Igor Shoifot, please take a seat. Okay, so now quite traditional question. What in scope of this bright future, what changes you expect in field of the entertainment, travel, health, and sport? Who going to be first? Simi, you in travel. So what do you expect in travel space? People will fly more, less?
Yeah, so...
yeah, please take me.
Yes. You know, one of the questions is what is the future of aviation? If you think about how Uber and Tesla has completely transformed the ground transportation, what do we think about the air? We believe that you will still go to San Francisco to fly to New York and London, but you will not go to San Francisco to fly to LA or to Denver or any place like that. We believe that flying cars, you can call them flight cars, you can call them air taxis, we call them electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, will happen potentially sooner than completely autonomous level 5 self-driving cars. So we believe that's a big, and we're invested in that space, so.
Great. Anyone like to talk about entertainment? It's great time for us. We're changing our old black and white TV for this 4K, 8K, who knows, XK. We're moving from regular cinema to 3D cinema. What other form of entertainment do you expect to come to the using high tech? Oh.
Thanks so much. Hi. So I think one of the most interesting things that we've been watching, the tendency is for edutainment. And I'm sure fellow investors here got quite a few pitches of those companies. What's interesting is there is a new breed of companies that are working to make education much, much more entertaining. And watching those pitches, sometimes you wish you were a kid and you know, your chemistry and your physics were as exciting. So one of the companies, may I also use this as product placement?
No.
Shit.
Just
so
only after sponsorship.
So some companies, I'm not going to name a name. So some companies, the way they do this, for example, they create virtual reality environment for school children, where school children could learn molecular structures, where they could see how chemical processes actually get conducted. And it's so exciting, quite frankly, it's like playing Avatar. So it's such a great envy. But above all of this, I think overall, answering to Stas's question, there are lots of new technologies that constantly come and pitch venture capitalists. One thing you always come back to as a VC, you need to be cynical, otherwise you don't make your money. One thing you always bring them back to is, this is all great and fun, but how do you guys make money? And what I see more and more is that this new breed of companies in entertainment, in health tech, and sports, etc., they're becoming much smarter about business model. There is a subscription, there is a platform management approach. So I think the most important thing that's coming is not just the amalgamation of the new technologies, but rather the new ways of making money on it.
Yes. Yes, please, David.
I just build on that in the field of entertainment, especially looking at the consumer demand. I think now's an interesting time, and there's more sea change in the technologies with which you have a palette to storytell, and that ranges from XR and AR devices to location-based to gaming and esports. But what's really interesting is the first set of products are very tech-centric, and there's a lot of tech disruption, but at the end of the day, it's this intersection of creativity and the technology itself that defines entertainment. But what I think you're going to see is things are going to evolve from being kind of a cool demo or a cool ride that has very little replayability. Any of you have tried some of these location-based experiences like the Void? It's kind of a 10 out of, it's an 11 out of 10 in terms of how cool it is or how immersive or would I tell a friend about it. But it's kind of a 0 out of 10 in terms of how upset would I be if this company went away and I never got to do this again. But what I think you'll see is a lot of these things will evolve from being ride-like to being things that people actually integrate in their daily lives. And that's when you'll see that second wave of creatives using this new palette. And the other thing I would say a little bit is, especially in the field of entertainment, in the gaming, and even on the esports section, it's probably the only category that's been growing in double-digit percentages year over year. But I would argue it's because the interactivity inside of gaming is actually changing what gaming is. It used to be a niche part of the business where, you know, nerdy gamers play, and if you look now, there's kind of a seed change in the demographic. It is teenage girls, it's the cool kids in school, it's kind of everybody is going, and it's becoming much more interactive entertainment than it is hardcore gaming. So I think you'll see a lot of changes in that category as well.
Thank you, David. Now, yes, please.
I think we're going to have both more travel and more screen time. Now, I can't wait for her electric Jet Suite X to go to Denver. And I cannot really wait for a self-driving car. I think in 15 years, we look back, we're going to be amazed how much better our life is 15 years from now than it was today. But think of it this way. You get in a self-driving car, you immerse yourself in a screen. Maybe it's VR, maybe it's not VR. You ignore the travel and you arrive somewhere. You get on her nice, wonderful jet to go to Denver. You immerse yourself, the right type of headphones, all the way to Denver. This is what's going to be extraordinary to us. A lot more screen time with a lot more travel.
Thank you. Huican, I remember that you've been with Google at very early days and you deal with image search. So what do you expect from internet entertainment? Internet as a, because my kids, they don't care about TV, they care only about all this flashy stuff called spot chat. I'm old, I still using Facebook. But what do you believe role of the internet in entertainment of tomorrow?
Well, the internet definitely has changed the way entertainment works, right? We know that Netflix is a huge success because of streaming, the way you deliver content, deliver video, images, all kind of things through the internet. In the future, I envision that for sports or the sports events, you probably don't need to subscribe to those TV channels like ESPN, things like that. You can just subscribe to whatever events you are interested in and get live stream of those events, like French Open, or the even Warriors games. Today, if you want to watch, you have to subscribe to ESPN or the other channels. But in the future, I think the live streaming on demand will definitely be the norm.
It's pretty interesting. Now, to enjoy of this travel entertainment, we probably need to be healthy. So, sport and healthcare. Mary, question. There is a lot of and we're going to see a lot of the interesting healthcare medical devices company and so on. But from what I see, they all grow to some moment until they either die or bought by big pharma. Do you believe that there is any chance for young healthcare or medical device startup to become large independent company, or this trend that exists today will continue forever?
Well, if I were to summarize a theme that, as many of my peers here have done, what I think you're going to see more of in the future, which is both exciting and frightening, is much more self-accountability for your health. The amount of time we will spend face-to-face with the doctor is diminishing as we speak. And while there's nurse practitioners and physician assistants coming behind them, that time will diminish over time. And whether it's the things on our arms or the things that we'll be wearing in a variety of places on our body or our clothes, that'll be regulating, or is it immunotherapy where your own body will begin healing itself, whether it's the predictive analytics that'll personalize what cancer drug works for you. All of this is actually happening faster than many of us thought. And quite frankly, a lot of it's happening outside of the pharma sector. So if you're a med tech entrepreneur, it's a great time to be part of all of this. Why? Because the consumer's driving it. In the old days, the physicians drove it, then the hospital systems drove it. Now the actual demand and the driver is the consumer. And the more people experience it, I think the more that will accelerate it. So I'm very optimistic that if people are comfortable taking that responsibility, we will eventually be healthier, because just by very nature of the involvement, it'll change things.
Thank you. We have great panel here represented starting from angel, seed funds, venture funds, corporate funds. So you have full spectrum. So now I have a question to all of you from your experience, and probably it's most important topic for pitching startups. When you evaluate startups, early stage startup, what positive and negative signs you're looking for? And let's start from Guy.
What I'll say about the opportunities and the traps here is that they're very similar to what we see in other kinds of segments. They're not really any different. And for this type of consumer-facing approach, the key question is, will the dog eat the dog food? Okay? Are consumers going to use it? Are they going to, value the technology the same way that you think they are? And you can have the coolest business models in sliced bread. None of this will matter unless consumers will do what you expect them to do. So what we try to do is just stick to the metrics, and this is why doing this in early stage is just so hard, just because there's really no metrics. And but a little bit later on, while you've gotten going, we try to stick to things like page views, customer growth, engagement, really stick to the data. And where the traps are, I would say, what media companies dealing with media are really good at is media. They tend to get a lot of attention, they tend to get a lot of hype, they tend to get a lot of press, a lot of bloggers, and so on. So what we try to do is just stay away from all the hype and just stick to basic metrics.
Thank you. If I may build up on that, I think really that expression of money talks, BS walks is very applicable to early stage startups as well. And I hope I'm not offending great fellow entrepreneurs here, because there are quite a few startups that are struggling, and yet they will be great startups. But when you're a VC, you have to constantly remind yourself to be more cynical rather than idealistic, unfortunately. And you need to go back exactly to what Guy mentioned, to the metrics, and all sorts of stuff. Not, page views, of course, as well, but I think that there are also early revenues that are very important. And the best experiences ever, and I don't know if my fellow investors would or would not agree with me, but the best experiences that my partners and I look back into when we met companies that we were first, or among the very first investors of, that were rather early and then became multi-hundred-million-dollar companies and unicorns in 2 cases. What we recall, what set those guys apart, and I really invite anybody to argue with me and call me an idiot, is that they all talked numbers. No matter how in love they were with their tech, no matter how idealistic they were about this future they're building, they all talked numbers, and not necessarily money, but conversion rates, lifetime value, which different channels they're using, how customers are converting in this channel and that channel, how they're planning to be converting, and numbers. And whenever you talk with people who constantly refer you to numbers, you really feel that you're talking about something real. And when you look back into those startups, successful and unsuccessful ones, the biggest difference, I would say, again, guys, please argue with me, the biggest difference, I think, are the people who think by numbers. And I'm, by the way, a historian, not a mathematician. But
historians know in numbers better than mathematicians. Bonny, you are a classical representative of corporate VC. What's your take on early stage investment? And it's quite unusual for corporate VC. Are you doing any early stage? If yes, what do you look for?
Sure. So what's interesting about corporate venture, and there's all different flavors of corporate venture, but almost all of them are optimizing for two things instead of one, and it's very heavily weighted towards strategic value. So think of financial value and strategic value. Everybody else here, in general, is optimizing for the financial value. So we don't compete against these guys. In fact, Duncan and I co-invest and hope to co-invest here. So what we look for in a startup is someone who understands how can we provide value to you and you to us? What's our strategic value? So for us, we think about, as an example, for us, how do you increase revenue, reduce costs, improve customer service or safety? Those are things that ultimately will have a bottom line for us at JetBlue. And so we'll make much more value, generate much more value for JetBlue based on those, and we won't be looking for that 2x, 3x returns, 10x returns. I've got a long timeline. I don't have a fund. I invest off the balance sheet, so I don't have to. I can wait 10 years. So it's thinking about how do we together, a nice mix is to have some financial VCs along with the right strategic VCs. I have 40 million customers. So if you have a B2C solution, think about that distribution platform. So that's what we're looking for, is someone who's thoughtfully looked at how can you provide value to us and how can we provide value to you to optimize our platform.
Okay, very, very quick answer. David, Duncan, and Huican, you are venture capitalists, classical venture capital funds. Besides pure numbers, on early stage, what's important for you in startups?
Well, first of all, I want to offer something to Bonnie. I've got a 737 MAX. You want to buy one? It's sitting there in the tarmac. No, okay, too bad. Well, besides what they've said, unique insight. In travel in particular, travel entertainment, we see all these nice, fluffy apps. You can meet your friends. You can do this little route in Rome. Never gets to scale. Something unique. FanDuel walks into us. They invent daily or mobile fantasy sports. Hugely interesting company. That's one. We had another company come to us that was trying to aggregate suites. So you go to a hotel, I want 2 adjoining rooms. You show up, they're not adjoining. You want a suite, they can't really sell it. It's something the hotel industry never did. So these people said, we know how to aggregate this with technology. It was unique. Here's a third example. This is one we're playing with right now. Airbnb. These people figured, okay, I can go lease long-term properties that are plums in the Airbnb world, treat it like I'm a real estate manager, and make a lot more money. So they don't treat it like it's my room I'm renting out to somebody. They're actually a property manager for rental properties of very, very good data and analytics. Now that was unique. Other people can figure out how to do rental properties in Hawaii, but these guys are creating a network inside of Airbnb of superb properties they manage better. That's what we look for. Come with your unique insight.
So numbers, unique idea, unique and probably big ideas. Anyone looking for teams?
Well, I'll comment also on, and quite frankly, I've got this insight at the Angel Capital Association a few weeks ago. So often as people talk numbers and project returns, and of course everybody thinks they're going to go out in 4 or 5 years, but that's another story. But ultimately, if you're going to take people's money, most of us spend a lot of time talking shareholder value, right? So as you take money, you of course look at shareholder value. There's a different way to approach it, and that is, what about acquirer value? As you think about every stage you go through, every stage has to factor in, if you do that, is it adding value to the potential acquirer? Because 95% of companies go out in a strategic or just a financial buyout, not going public. That's an interesting dynamic, because what happens after 3 or 4 years, a lot of founders settle in and they, quite frankly, don't want to sell. They kind of enjoy the ride. So it's an interesting thing to add in the discussion, and if you're entrepreneurs out there, it's tough to let your baby go. But from every step of the way, you want to be thinking about what value does that create for an acquirer.
Thank you. It was a very interesting discussion to getting a little bit input from the investors, but now it's time to switch. You have last word? Yes.
I just want to answer your question.
Me.
The question you asked is, nobody said team.
Yes, actually, I was kind of surprised.
All right, so I asked CEOs a question. Do you want to get rich or do you want to be right? Now, most people think, oh, I want to get rich so I can make you money. That's the wrong answer. You want the person with unique insight to have a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove they figured something else out that nobody else did. They want to prove they're right, and the money will follow. The reason this is important is all startups have a travel pathway which is lumpier than a 737 MAX. It just doesn't go smoothly. You want them to feel, you want them to believe that they can break through any barrier. So that's what we look for. They want to be right, and they have a chip on their shoulder to prove it to the rest of the world.
And now it's time for us to show you a few startups, and probably some of them will fit in your picture. So we're starting from the quick elevator pitches by 2 startups. Please, 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 guys, elevator pitch. Your time is up. 60 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go, 60 seconds.
Hello? Hello? Oh, great. So, staying in fit is really hard. There are 60 million gym members in the US each year, but 67% end up unused. So people have trouble sticking to their workout. My name is Ain. I'm founder of JetBlue. So we are solving this problem by providing a social workout tracking platform. So our app was designed to help gym goers to form exercise habits. So by tracking and analyzing their training progress. So currently we're doing about 500,000 monthly active users. And what makes us special is even in such a highly competitive space, we have always been bootstrapping and cash flow positive. Currently doing about like $1.7 million in annual recurring revenue. And that's about 90% growth in Q1 revenue compared to the last year. So I would love to share more about our story at our booth. So our company name is called JetFit, J-E-F-I-T. So I will talk to you guys soon.
Well done, man. Fantastic. You can keep the mic. Give it to the next person over there. And hand the mic to Boyan over there. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Boyan, and I'm the founder of Lumitic. The inspiration for our startup came over 20 years ago when I was watching fireworks companies struggling to meet.
You're not judging this, don't worry. I know you're looking in your screen for it. Don't worry. Yeah. These are just some fun pitches. So just keep smiling at them. Keep smiling. Sorry, Boyan. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, the inspiration came over 20 years ago when I was watching fireworks companies struggling to make controlled shapes appear in the sky. So we've created a wireless pixel that is able to turn the sky into a video display. Lumitic is a high-accuracy locating platform that we're using in an interactive LED application. We've adopted this technology for entertainment and sports events where we're turning the stadium audience into an interactive display. Video displays are everywhere around us, from the smallest examples of your smartwatch to the largest video billboards. And we're taking this one step further by transforming the stadium audience into a giant display where the audience becomes part of the experience. And one more thing, our wearable pixels have location awareness with inch-level accuracy. Why is that important?
And
because it creates,
tell us why it's important. Go on.
because it creates unlimited opportunities for user interaction and tracking.
Super. Thank you so much, Boyan. Keep the mic, take it over there. Okay, so for the 6 startups that are about to come and pitch, please come and talk to me in the corner so that I know a little bit about you. But this next startup, okay, now it's on. Now you're on. So just so you know, you guys get some questions. I'll start with you, and then people at the white tables, I'd love to go to questions from you as well. And we're judging across a couple of criteria like the team, the competitor landscape, and a few others. So please mark after every single pitch. You guys ready? Amazing. You guys ready? Yeah. It's that time of the day, isn't it? Yeah, kinda. I'm kinda ready. If you insist, Dan, we'll be ready. I'll promise after this we'll get some coffee, and then we'll be fine again. All right, first up, this group, they have got 5 billion messages being sent every single month. almost as close as my own. The app has been downloaded 20 million times. We're now going to hear from the founders of Antiland. Let's give it up. Come stand over here. There's your clock. Your 5 minutes starts right now.
My name is Nick Halovins, and my app saves millions of lives from stresses, depressions, and loneliness. Antiland is an anonymous chatting app delivering more than 5 billion messages per month. It's one of the few profitable messengers in the world, generating a 7-figure revenue. We have a team of 95 members, including 15 contractors and 80 moderators. Personally, I created 4 companies, 300 jobs, made 2 exits, and had 1 failure. Several years ago, I lost a multi-million-dollar company. I was so depressed that one of the discs in my spine was blown out. I couldn't walk for 2 months. I needed help, but I decided that I'm too strong for that. And I'm not the only one. 60% of depressed people don't get any treatment. They think it's either too expensive, or they don't need it, or they have privacy concerns. Even my mom, who is a professional psychotherapist, couldn't talk me into getting a professional help. But I wanted to air my feelings. I wanted to talk to people. That's how I usually dealt with such problems. That's why I created Antiland. Antiland is a fast and easy way to get a kind of service similar to anonymous talk therapy online. You just download the app, create an anonymous profile, choose an avatar, and start chatting with thousands of people just like you. It's like going to a bar where nobody knows each other, but everyone shares their secrets. Of course, not all of these secrets are really clean. That's why we had to create more than 600 different algorithms preventing violent behavior, such as bullying, trolling, and pornography sharing. Many people even said that our app saved them from suicides. Isn't that cool? The market is not that evident, but it's really huge. In US alone, it's a $500 billion market. Companies lose more than $200 billion every year because of depression at work. Consumers spend about $300 billion on mental health services and drugs. Every 7th person in the world suffers from depression, and every 7th out of them will try to commit a suicide. So we need to act fast. How do we make money? So everyone in Antiland is anonymous, but people still want to differ from each other. That's why we had to create more than 6 million different combinations of profile skins. Like you can become a dragon or a lion. The more exclusive and rare is the profile skin, the higher is the cost. Some people spent on this app more than $20,000 each. Of course, we're not the only anonymous app in the world. There are such apps like Reddit or Whisper, which are more like anonymous bulletin boards. Antiland is more like a messenger, so it looks like a messenger. Many people use it for dating purposes because almost half of our audience are females. And it's also used widely for stress management, like such as apps as Calm and Headspace. As I said, we're a profitable company, but we want to make a huge difference. That's why we're raising a Series A round now to rebuild the app, to make it a kind of anonymous Facebook. We want to hire the best engineers of Silicon Valley for that. We want to make it a Facebook for your soul. We live in Silicon Valley, a place where everyone says, like, we're crushing it. Everything is awesome. I'm so cool. Come on, guys. Take your masks off. My mission here is to make you feel great when everything is not all right. Thank you.
Well done. Excellent. Stay right here. Stay. All right, now time to face you guys. Who's got a question first?
Well, very quickly, 25 million what? Downloads, daily active, something in between?
We have 20 million downloads, and we have 1 million monthly active users.
Okay. What are your dailies over monthlies?
12%.
Okay.
Any question on this side?
So I love that you're tackling mental health. I think it's one of the biggest issues in society right now. I was trying to get a better sense of, with all the people coming in, what's your methodology around curating who interacts with who, and how do people find their tribe inside of this anonymous app?
So all the magic happens on backend. When user joined the app, we actually we split all the users into different group chats. We have more than 100,000 group chats. People are all united by different interests, by behavioral patterns. So for instance, if you try to swear in this app, nobody will see your message, but you will be immediately relocated to a special group chat where swearing is obligatory.
Nice.
Each profile is analyzed, each behavioral pattern. We have more than 30 different metrics for every user. And we make sure that everyone acts so that he or she wouldn't harm anyone in our community.
Any questions from the floor? We'll come to the questions up here, but anyone from the white tables? Yes, Anastasia, can you pass the mic as fast as you can to the lady over there? If you just tell us your name, the fund, and then your question, please.
Andy Gaze, Health Tech Capital. So in England, there is this company that has also millions of users for depression, Whitewall. I mean, how do you compare yourself to them? The NHS, how for it for free?
What's the name of this company?
Whitewall, very big.
Whitewall.
Depression.
It's like more an app where you can get professional psychological
No, it's the same thing. You can talk with each other. Very similar. There is no avatar, but...
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard about this company. I cannot comment on that.
Okay. Another question quickly. What's your retention rate? How long do people stay on the app?
Well, so there are two patterns how people behave in the app. Most of the users actually join the app, they get help, they find real friends, real friends based on real interests, on their true selves. They make families. Well, but some people and they just leave, right? But some people spend hours every day in this app because they met online friends. And so these online friends keep them visiting the app every day and continue these relationships.
All right, I know we've got more questions, so quick responses. We'll go with you, and then we'll go here on this side. Yes?
So just real quick, nowadays, although it's anonymous, there is the question about privacy on data. You've got your device ID, all of these. How are you managing the platform behind and ensuring the privacy there?
Yeah, we should have built a lot of different algorithms, especially for safety measures. So for instance, if you reinstall the app, install VPN, and try to break the rules in the app, we will still find you. But we will not know your real name. So we analyze the behavior of the people. We collect some metrics that do not show your true self, your identity, but we still identify devices, users anonymously.
We've got a question on this side.
Can you, I'm unclear on your investment. What are you going to do to the app, the 12 million to redo it? Can you go a little deeper on that?
Well, so the thing is, we cannot afford now hiring 20 local engineers, but I want to hire people from Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, the best engineers with all the experience we need to build Facebook killer app. Not a huge amount of this money will be spent. Well, I would say maybe 30% will be spent on engineering team, but the rest of the money will be spent on marketing. We want to make it really huge. We haven't spent a single coin on marketing by this day, so it's completely organic. But we want to blow our records. We want to increase the metrics significantly.
All right, man. We're going to have to call it quits over there. Thank you so much for your time. Let's give it up. So, judges, if you'd quickly please score the startup, let us know what your thoughts are. Stay over there. Hold on. I will introduce you, man. I know you're ready. I know you're so ready for your 5 minutes. But we got to give these guys a little bit of time to quickly score, please. The rest of you as well, just remember bit.ly/SVOD. I think that's it, right? I don't think it'll put a 2019 at the end of it. I think just /SVOD, and you can join us as well in scoring. Also remember that little money that you have, feel free to give it to people. We'll do something fun with that tomorrow. Now, I feel like I'm crushing it, and I feel great because I do not have kids. I get to do this life solo. This next man, I have a lot of respect for him because he's got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 kids, and still an entrepreneur. I think that takes a lot of guts, and he's also just so ready to get on stage, so I'm not going to take up any more of his time. You want me to take a break? I'll take a break. You come here and take your 5 minutes. Please give it up from Sportamix. It is Gene.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gene Shanis, and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Sportamix. Sportamix is the first global networking platform designed specifically for sports community and everybody within. As you well know, probably, millions of athletes continuously looking to enhance their career and to showcase their talent. On the other side, thousands of coaches, teams, and federations are continuously looking to onboard with limited success. Billions of dollars are spent, Mike is acting up, but billions of dollars are spent within scouts, by scouts and agents, and they're all working the old-fashioned way. We created an opportunity for uniting them all in one space. Now, regardless of the age, geographic location, or social status, anyone can come in and join the platform. It's not only for athletes and coaches, it's also for fans, parents, leagues, retired athletes, brands, financial institutions, media. Everybody's welcome. Our user-friendly interface has been keeping number of people on the platform for quite a long time looking for opportunities, and it's been tested. Basic information is entered when you create a profile. Your name, your location, what you have done, what you're famous for. Athletes have their personal timeline continuously updated, and it's backed by blockchain technology, which keeps track of reoccurrences. There's a contact information. Athletes' data is what makes us stand out. Our search engine is really, really detailed. We go into uniqueness of every sport. In other words, you're entering your points averages, assists, steals, anything that's important for your industry and your end of expertise. The platform offers basically a digital resume, which offers a number of information, your pictures, your highlights. We're also integrated with YouTube and other social media platforms. Where we stand out is the uniqueness of our search engine and ability by someone to find a person by their shoe size and reach out within a click of 2 buttons. We have a tamper-proof data that's offered by, that's backed by a blockchain technology. Obviously, AI capabilities, and we offer localization for all major regions worldwide. In early this year, we have started our testing, and within roughly, I want to say 5 to 6 weeks, we were able to onboard close to 500,000 subscribers from over 185 countries. And also we achieved, the test showed great balance between athletes, parents, coaches, and others. And we achieved really, really cool costs of onboarding. We reached 20 cents when we expected to spend about $0.50. Few hundred celebrities really reacted really quickly. Became part of our community, and they're promoting our concept because, as you probably know, in each family, number of people are associated with the world of sports. We also, as a matter of fact, we just got back from Australia from the Sports Accord, where we had conversations with Olympic Committees, Global Association of International Sports Federations, and Mr. Tamar Bach, who's the president of the Olympic Committee, found this really interesting, and that was actually describing how digital data and digitizing the whole world of sports is something that they're planning on doing within this year. We stopped spending money on advertising as soon as we were done with tests, and we're onboarding at the rate of 2 to 3 people every minute organically. The application itself is free. Our monetization comes from premium memberships, luxury features, things that are not exactly necessary, but also ad revenue and in-app purchases, as well as other programs that are offline. We're led by, anyone seen Jerry Maguire? Well, you then know Lee Steinberg, that's him. He's the president of our company, and the second I brought up the fact that we're bringing a major impact to the world of sports, he said, Gene, where were you 40 years ago? You would have helped a lot of people. And obviously we have experts from IT, marketing, and all other parts of the industries that are important to make this successful. So we're here looking to raise funds to complete our mission. We believe we're going to be profitable within the next 16 months, and we're going to impact lives of many. So we're here to invite and find strategic partner who can help us do that.
Well done. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, let's see if we got some questions.
I can go again. When my fund was formed and named Bullpen, baseball term, who knows baseball here? Anybody? Auto show. We were pitched on one of these by a professional baseball player.
I believe.
And there are dozens of them, at least in the United States, for baseball, football, basketball, sort of the better sports. So I'm trying to figure out what is unique about you. Is it because you're going through all the other sports?
Well, we pretty much took the boundaries off. It's not only most of the platforms, and there are more in the United States than elsewhere, are segmented by geolocation, age, or the type of sports. We took all the boundaries off and let just people come in and enjoy the whole experience. So you can cross from one sport into another. You can be informed on what's going on the other side of the world. And you can be onboarded from totally unexpected area, where most of the other platforms only gives you a specific segment and you're limited.
I guess my other question then is, what we see in the U.S. is a lot of people that pay for this are the parents of the aspiring athlete.
Sure.
Okay, because they want them to get a scholarship in college or get into some minor league team. Question, in your business model, I was kind of confused. Where's the money coming from? Is it from the aspiring athlete or from other people in the food chain?
Well, look, there are people that like to stand out and they want luxury features such as keeping track and comparing themselves to others. But the main revenue stream, we believe, will come from ad revenue, as well as obviously subscriptions, because again, when an advertiser is able to target somebody by their size of the t-shirt, geolocation, where they know that they can afford their stuff, it's really important and unique.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So I had one question.
Yes, sir.
Building on Duncan's question, it sounds like one of your somewhat unique approaches is you're going much broader. You're going after a much broader set of sports and broader set of demographic in terms of skill level, aspirational, all the way to professional. My question is, so far in that first 500,000 customers, have you seen certain categories of sports spike or certain demographics of skill level spike, or is that also as broad as you have seeded it?
It's a great question. We were more concerned about the balance of audience, which we again tested. We received probably 70% of athletes to 18% of coaches who are looking for opportunities. There are a number of sports and groups that are completely neglected. Say weightlifting is a lot less interesting to sponsors than say tennis or professional, football. So we're trying to create an equilibrium and let people kind of have an open book and connect them in a way that they haven't been able before.
Any questions from the floor before we come to a question from you? Yes, over there. Anastasia, run, 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 run. We go as fast as you can. So, yes.
Stu Soffer again. One of the problems of spending 40 years in Silicon Valley is that a lot of things start looking like other things you've seen. And I think I was trying to remind myself when I saw you outside.
Yes.
There used to be a company called HitPost.
One more time.
HitPost.
HitPost.
Doesn't do exactly what you're doing, but it was acquired by Yahoo until 2013. I don't think they did as much as you're trying to do, but there was a market for it and it was acquired.
I'm going to have to push you for a question. So, you asking what the difference is? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in our case, again, we let all the boundaries off the hook. We're creating solutions for each vertical and parallel within sports. So we're not isolating specific targets. We're just being utilized as a tool to promote and find exactly what they're looking for. So healthy lifestyle, sport ethics are the #1 of our priorities. Keeping people clean and giving them optimal chance to enhance their career, make money, do what they love is something that we're really excited. And because of that, again, there is a huge interest organically that when people hear that such opportunity exists, living in the United States, you have some solutions. Imagine the rest of the world that has absolutely none.
All right, quick question over here and super fast answer, please.
Fine.
Yes.
3 years from now, what percentage of your revenue will be ad revenue?
One more time.
What percentage of your revenue will be from ads in 3 years?
Market shifts so quickly that it's hard to say exactly, but we believe it's still going to be somewhere in the 70% category.
Super. All right. Thank you so much, Gene.
Thank you.
In that direction, please.
Guys, we have a booth, in the room. Come see us. Thank you so much.
So the next person said that she's happily married, but she's built an app for divorced couples. And they were actually selected as one of the first batch of the Apple Entrepreneur Camp, which is a program for female founders. She's worked at BCG, eBay, PayPal, Zong. She's a mom of 2 kids. She did a PhD at Stanford. Laura, who was here earlier, was actually part of that program. Please give it up for Elena.
Hi, I'm Elena Krasnopirova, and I'm really excited to tell you today about WeParent, a new app that helps make co-parenting simpler. We all know the depressing statistics. Half of marriages end in divorce. Majority of divorces involve kids, and as a result, over 20 million Americans are raising their kids with somebody they don't live with and are not married to, and that's hard. From interviewing customers, we know that the top 3 co-parenting pain points are, number 1, managing custody schedules and calendars. Number 2, sharing information, documents, tracking expenses in a place where you can go, honey, where is that health insurance card? It's not a honey, and they're not there. And generally communicating. Frankly, they're an ex for a reason. You don't relish an opportunity to communicate with them, but you have to. So our goal is to make co-parenting less stressful, to reduce the conflict in divorced parents' relationships so that they can focus their energies on what really matters, which is their kids. So we created a mobile app that allows parents to set up their custody schedules and see them on one convenient calendar. That it also provides a shared library of photos, contacts, notes, documents, expenses, all the artifacts of parenting life. And it also keeps track of all the message exchanges between the 2 parents. Everything is private, secure, searchable, and it can be used in court if need be. Our traction to date has been 100% organic. We launched on the App Store on March 1st, and in the 10 weeks since then, we've experienced a 33% week-over-week growth in the number of families that are signing up for the free trial for our subscription-based product. 90% of the customers are finding us through App Store search, through the keywords that we're optimized for, like custody. And last week, you see a lovely uptick in our free trial initiations because Apple featured us as App of the Day, leading to a 17x increase in daily free trial initiations. Our revenue model is a subscription SaaS model. The app is free to download and free to try for a month, and after that it builds and renews automatically unless you cancel. We deliberately set the initial price to be very low to capture market share, but not at zero, because we want everybody to have some skin in the game. And we also set it to be family-wide, and we're the only app in the market that does that, for two reasons. We don't want to add to more conflict to the co-parenting relationship, so only one of them has to make the decision and to pay. And also, we want everybody in the family to be involved, not just the two co-parents, but also their new spouses and partners, grandparents, siblings, nannies, and anybody else who needs to be in the loop. They all come on board for free. Over time, as the app matures and gets better, we will gradually increase prices for new customers, and we could go as high as $100 per family per year. Some of our competitors charge $100 per person per year, all up front. Speaking of competitors, WeParent is the only app that combines great mobile-first design with an affordable but still very sustainable recurring business model. The other competitive advantage is my background as a founder. I am a mom of 2 kids, and I'm absolutely hell-bent on solving this problem for millions of parents. As was mentioned before, I'm a former BCG, eBay, PayPal, Upwork, which went public, and Zong, which was acquired. And I happen to have a PhD in psychology from Stanford, which comes in very handy when you're creating a consumer app that is all about psychology and human behavior. We have a special relationship with Apple, having been selected for the very first batch of the Apple Entrepreneur Camp, Apple's new program for female founders of mobile app companies. It was truly a life-changing experience. As I mentioned last week, they featured us as App of the Day, and once they do it once, it's very likely they will do it again when we have a major update. Our go-to-market strategy so far has been 100% organic. We've never spent a penny on acquiring customers. It's all been through ASO and a little bit of word of mouth and PR. Over time, we will layer other marketing strategies, including App Store and Facebook ads, incentivized referrals and partnerships. And ultimately, we want to add an enterprise sales component, where we sell subscriptions for our app in bulk to companies, who then turn around and provide it as an employee benefit to their employees as a way of retaining parents, particularly moms. We have a busy roadmap ahead of us for the rest of 2019, including launching an Android app and continuing to iterate on the user experience to improve retention, engagement, and referrals. But the part that I am most excited about as a married mom is expanding the market from just the divorced parent segment to all parents. Our new onboarding experience is going to be like a choose-your-own-adventure style onboarding. You tap on Get Started, and you choose the picture of the family that most closely resembles your family. Are you married? Are you divorced? Are you a single parent? Are you a blended family? And the app will customize itself for you and your family type. And if something changes, you get divorced, remarried, whatever, with one tap of a button, again, you can get the app to adjust to you. So, our goal is to become the app of choice for all families, for all parents. We hope you will join us on this journey and help make not just co-parenting, but parenting simpler and easier for everyone. Thank you.
Well done. Excellent. Super. Stay right here. You can keep that. All right, let's go. First questions up here on stage, and I'm going to come to you guys down here. And so we'll pass the mic down. Yes.
Hi, wonderful idea. Hopefully would be helpful to a lot of people. The one major concern to me would be customer acquisition. Can you talk just a little bit about what happened so far? You don't need to disclose numbers if they're too
You saw the numbers, so it's
Okay.
not a secret, not among friends like this. So we have about 700 families that we've acquired over the 10 weeks that we've been live. And again, so far it's been 100% organic through App Store search. So far we haven't spent anything on marketing. However, our plans is, oops, I think it's actually forward, is to add other marketing strategies, and I've experimented with some of them for some of my previous apps. So I know what the economics of those are. And as I mentioned, ultimately, probably in a year or two, we want to add that enterprise component where we're selling it in bulk to companies who then provide it as an
Do you get at least a rough sense of how much would a customer be, or that's something you're not, how much a customer acquisition cost would be, CAC?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, frankly, is going to be an optimization exercise, right? Where we're going to test a bunch of channels, right? Obviously, see what produces the best quality customers, right? In terms of conversion to paid, retention, and all of that good stuff. And so some of it is just going to be a bit of an algorithm, optimization game. My hypothesis based on past experiences is in this market, one of the most impactful way of acquiring customers is going to be connecting to already existing communities of parents. So whether they're online or offline, because parents talk to other parents, right? These are the people that we trust, and so I plan to leverage the heck out of that channel as much as I can.
We've got a question up here in the front, please. Give us your name, the fund, and your question.
Yes, Dmitry Alimov, Frontier Ventures. One thing that makes this opportunity especially interesting is if you can, as you suggested, branch out to kind of all the parents, right? Mm-hmm. So can you talk about what are the differences in the needs of kind of regular, quote-unquote, parent, obviously no one's regular, versus kind of divorced parents, and how do you see, like, are you going to be able to serve them with the same product? Are you going to have to make the product substantially different? How do you think about that?
Yeah, so the way I think about it is that there's a superset of functionality that we're creating, and then we surface the relevant functionality pieces to each family. So as an example, thankfully, as a married mom, I don't have to worry about custody, right? We're on deck all the time, 24/7, right? Me and my husband. But obviously for a divorced parent, that's relevant. So the functionality is there. It doesn't disappear. If you have some data, we will expose the data to you, right? But the custody tab, as a main tab within the app, will only be exposed for divorced people, but not for married people. So that's one example. In contrast, for married people, shared tasks and lists, like for the daily, never-ending, need to get this from the store, need to get this done, right? As any parent would attest, when you become a parent, your life stops being about you, right? And it's just this never-ending, list of things that you need to do. So we help on the logistics front, so you can actually enjoy being a parent a little bit more.
Any other questions from the floor? And then we'll come to you after that.
Hello?
Yes. One sec, your name and the fund, and then the question.
Daryl Kong from Cryptic Labs. The core functionality looks like it's a shared calendaring system, and I think you've got some facets that target specific life situations. So what are your ideas as far as compelling your user base to continue using, like the stickiness? Because, so your base case is divorced parents. Well, it's usually contentious, and one or both of the parents are like, hey, I'm not going to use it. I don't want to make this easier. There's generally some externalities that are going to affect the usability of the app. So I'm wondering if you have ideas about how you carrot this.
My initial hypothesis is going to be a calendar plus something else app, right? And that's how I started off for my previous app, in particular, Calroo. Divorced people kept telling me, love Calroo idea, can't use it, it's way too shared, every breath I take is shared, and I'm dealing with my ex, which is more formal. It turned out that when we interviewed the divorced people and also married people, we kind of got the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The pain points that they have in their relationship. And calendar for married people is actually not a problem. They typically share a Google Calendar with each other, right? So it meets those needs okay. What doesn't get met, the need that does not get met, is the sharing of all these, I call them artifacts of parenting life. So every day, I get either a physical piece of paper or some bits and bytes, right, from the school with the school report card. We go to the store and the kid says, I want this for my birthday, right? And so taking pictures of that or scanning that, and then what are you supposed to do with it? Email it to each other? Text it? Good luck finding it even the next day, let alone 3 months later. With us, everything is archived, everything is searchable, and it's all in one place. You never have to guess.
I am super sorry, but we've run out of time. I will prioritize you for the first question if you have one for the next round. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Helena.
Thank you.
Well done. So this next gentleman, when he was 13 years old, had a murmur and went to go get it checked out, and that inspired him to start working on his idea, because 250 children die every single day from congenital heart defects. He wanted to be a doctor growing up and couldn't do that, so he settled for second best, which is to be an engineer. Please put your hands together for Arvind.
I couldn't become a doctor because I went through a lot of stress as a child with the heart murmur, but reluctantly went into engineering college, and I was disappointed I couldn't become a doctor. But that's where I met my mentor, who was the former president of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, who said these golden words which changed my life. He said, Arvind, if you're a doctor, you can help thousands of patients, but if you're a doctor's doctor solving their problems with technology, you can not only help thousands of doctors, but through them reach millions of patients. So that's the inspiration I took and founded HT Medical, where we're building the world's first intelligent stethoscope with integrated ECG leads for communities that really need them the most. Now, there was a Lancet article that published that 300,000 children are born with congenital heart defects every year in India, out of which 90,000 children don't even survive until their first birthday. That means per day, 250 children or more are dying. And the problem is because India has a much higher population and the incidence is higher, and then the working force is much lesser compared to US. So there is a 7 times higher infant mortality rate compared to the US. And what is the government doing about this? They're allocating a lot of funds. For example, Modi Care gives $10,000 per every family for almost 500 million people. So it's not a lack of funds. There is funds available for performing even a free surgery. But the real problem is in terms of screening these children. And today the screening unfortunately happens with stethoscopes, which have really not evolved for more than 200 years. And there are electronic stethoscopes available, but that just amplifies the noise. And these are very noisy conditions where these children are screened. And that doesn't really help. And you can go to an ultrasound echo, which is very, very expensive, but there are a lot of legal restrictions which prevent the ultrasound echo from being used in these field scenarios and so on. So that's where we as a company came up with the world's first intelligent stethoscope with integrated ECG leads, where you can see the ECG leads integrated into the stethoscope. The 3 dots are actually the 3 electrodes. You don't need to connect any wires, no gel is required. And in real time, it communicates with the smartphone app, and you can see the green color waveforms showing the ECG, the blue color waveforms showing the heart sounds, and if there are any abnormalities or murmurs present, you can see an orange patch. So it's as simple as teaching a healthcare worker. If you see an orange patch, refer the patient for an echo or a follow-up study, right? You don't need much training for that. It makes it so easy because we have integrated 4 very powerful processors inside a stethoscope and enabled AI and a lot of analytic algorithms into the device. And this data can be shared on the cloud as well. And we have actually shown with clinical studies, the accuracy is close to 90% sensitivity and 99% specificity compared to ultrasound echo as a gold standard. And this was tested for over 1,100 patients. And based on this study, we have been actually mandated by the government of India to screen over 500,000 children this year. And by far the largest study ever in the world. Almost 3 times more than the previous study, which was 150,000 children for pulse oximetry, right? And we, by the way, also make money. Apart from selling this device for $500 as a better stethoscope, where there is a 523 million market for stethoscopes. About 2.1 million stethoscopes are sold annually, and there's an install base of almost 15 million stethoscopes. We want to replace every single one of those stethoscopes with an intelligent stethoscope. And we found recently that there are more veterinarians in the US than cardiologists. Can you believe it? 85,000 veterinarians compared to 33,000 cardiologists, and the veterinary market doesn't require an FDA approval. And by the way, we are about 60 days away from our US FDA approval, but the good news is we've already started selling this device in the US for the veterinary market. We have signed up with a major distributor who's also talking to the largest animal health company in the country, and we're also selling the stethoscopes in India and other non-regulated markets. But 60 days away, we are in major discussions with some of the large distributors and so on. But the real opportunity that is so exciting for us is that the screening as a service, where this device can be used for screening children, where we charge $1 per child for screening their conditions, saving the data on the cloud, and wherever they need a referral, we give a second opinion. And that market in Asia itself is over $1 billion. So this is our team. We have a great team, including a medical specialist and also a medical advisory board, and over 100 man-years of experience in terms of medical devices and so on. And there are plans to actually expand the screening program to screen over 50 million children and reduce the infant mortality rate by training over 3,000 women healthcare workers. And that gives them a job livelihood, which actually aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So you may ask, is this going to really change the world? But that particular child who's going to be screened and treated, it really changes the world for that particular child. So thank you for this opportunity. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. So, questions from the floor. I'm going to go with you.
So first of all, let me just commend you for what you're doing. Big round of applause, please. Could you comment maybe about the cost to manufacture the stethoscope, and how does it compare to the market price of a stethoscope? And if those are detached from each other, how do you plan to overcome that?
Sure. The current acoustic stethoscopes cost anywhere between $200 to $300. An electronic stethoscope costs around $500. So we are pricing our device competitively against electronic stethoscope, around $500. And currently our cost of goods is under $200, which will come down over volume manufacturing. So we are very competitively priced. Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about your IP, and what about companies like Echo?
Yes. So there are a lot of companies who actually do electronic stethoscopes. We've done a detailed competitive analysis where you can see that we score almost 11 out of 12 compared to the closest stethoscope coming to like 6 out of 12. And there are a lot of electronic stethoscopes that amplify the sound, some also visualize. But in our case, we have got a lot of algorithms and AI for detecting murmurs and also getting more interpretation on the cloud and so on. So we believe we are much better than any of the closest competitors. And we have a lot of patents, both granted as well as some of them pending.
There's a question on the other side over there.
Yeah, I was wondering, how did you measure the accuracy of your device? What technology do you have to make it very accurate?
Sure. We actually compared it with ultrasound echo as a gold standard, where we showed the sensitivity and specificity that I showed earlier, 91% sensitivity and 99% specificity. And we actually use a lot of DSP algorithms as well as AI. And in future, we'll also be doing a lot of machine learning. But right now, the AI algorithms happen both on the device as well as the app. But in future, we'll take advantage of a lot of cloud technologies to make it machine learning also.
Any questions from the floor? Anyone here have a question? All right, you've got a question, sir.
You probably went through this too quickly, or I missed it. But do you have existing contracts across India to actually bring this to market, and how big are they?
Yes, so we have distribution agreements which take our revenues to almost close to $3 million this year. And we also have MOUs signed with the Indian governments, where we are doing the screening as a pilot first this year. But in future, it's going to be $1 a child for screening, as well as there is a hybrid model where they will buy the devices in bulk. We'll train their healthcare workers, and wherever they need a second opinion, they will refer it through our cloud platform.
And the distribution of contracts, are they going to pay you the $3 million and they take care of getting it out in the field, or is it a sell-through contract if it gets sold through?
Correct. The distribution is mainly for selling to doctors and hospitals and so on. But the government comes under bulk purchasing schemes where we will actually negotiate directly with the governments.
Okay. Question on this side?
How do you balance this screening as a service business in India and in Asia versus trying to be a disruptive, better version of a device that's kind of in more common medical situations?
So that's a great question. I mean, we are on one side talking to some of the large distributors because that's the channels we are going into the market for the stethoscope sales. But we as a company are very excited about the screening as a service model because that's where we see a lot of expansion happening, not only in India and Asia, but we are even starting a program in Mississippi in the US, which is one of the very backward states, and they actually need this screening. Because the earlier you can detect these conditions, the better chances you have to save the life of those child.
If anyone's from Mississippi, he didn't really mean it that way. All right, just don't be offended.
They need it the most.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well done. All right, we've got 2 more startups who are going to pitch. Next up, we've got a gentleman who is an advisor with Volta Medical. Atrial fibrillation. It affects 33.5 million patients every single year. They've already raised 2.3 million, and for that, we've got Anton here to speak. Your 5 minutes starts right now.
Great. So I'm Anton. I'm responsible of strategy and finance at Volta Medical, French startup. And our mission is to leverage AI to improve clinical outcomes for patients with cardiac arrhythmias.
Put right up to your, no, it's on. Just put it on your chin. Put it on your chin.
Okay.
Physically on your chin.
Okay.
There we go. Hold it there. Don't move it away. On your chin.
Yeah. So what we're actually talking about, we're talking about atrial fibrillation. And atrial fibrillation affects, and atrial fibrillation affects around 3% of population worldwide and up to 10% of elderly population. What is the problem with atrial fibrillation? It is the leading cause of stroke. It leads to dementia and other cardiac inefficiencies. Yeah, sorry. And the problem, drugs that are currently on the market cannot efficiently treat it in most of the patients. The most efficient treatment that exists, which is ablation, is still inefficient in around 50% of the cases. So that's why we created Volta Medical. After more than 15 years of research, we created a real-time AI guidance for atrial fibrillation ablation. Having labeled more than 500,000 intracardiac signals, we were able to get astonishing clinical results that has been validated in 5 European centers with more than 16 operators and more than 100 patients. And now we're in the process of getting CE mark and FDA approval to be able to sell our product within the markets. So if we talk about the market, we're talking about 5 billion market, and it's growing quite fast. Currently, only 2% of people with atrial fibrillation are getting treated with ablation. So there's quite high market potential. And the biggest market would be US, then it would be Germany and France. So to ensure highest penetration, we would apply licensing model. So we would install our software for free in clinical centers and then charge per each operation case. And there's something with a graph. And that would depend on a country and on a volume within each center. So if we talk about competitors, then our tool would be best scoring within the key metrics, which is obviously procedure time. Procedure time, 1 minute in operating room costs more than $100 in US, so that's quite important. And then the efficiency of the operation itself, of course. So yeah, looking at our team, we have assembled a team of international KOLs in cardiac electrophysiology. We have a team of data scientists and a sufficient business layer around it. So we raised 2.7 million in equity funding. We secured a 1.3 million loan from from French government, half of which has already been released, and the other half we will receive with the next fundraising. And what is quite important that the market is characterized by high acquisition volume. We see, for example, Philips acquiring EPG Solutions last year, and each year there's 1-2 acquisitions in the field. So now we're looking to raise around 10 million Series A when we get FDA, which is end of this year, beginning of next year, to fund the commercialization, the randomized clinical trial, and the R&D developments. We are moving also to treat atrial tachycardia and ventricular tachycardias. Great, thanks. So, yeah.
Stay here, stay here, stay. Okay, lovely. Let's take some questions. I know there's a gentleman over there who has a question. Anastasia, can get a mic to him. Anyone on the stage have a question? Kick things off? Nope.
I'll kick off then. I'm an investor with Awake VC and also a potential customer. So very exciting story. I'm curious though, I missed, I think, the key part of the technology. Like, where is this disruptive for, because then you mentioned ablation procedures, and then and I know there's a lot of over-the-counter medical treatments, and you're right, it seems like this is one area of medical technology that's been missed or overlooked for quite a while. So exciting to hear the specific technology. And then, as you mentioned, 100 patients. Can you give some more detail on the qualification of success with those 100 patients? Were you able to completely remove the AFib situation or reduce it, and to what extent?
Yeah, great question, thanks. So now I get finally to explain how the procedure works. Initially, ablation is done, what is done, we introduce 2 catheters to the vein here, we lead it to the heart. First, there is a mapping catheter, which reconstructs the 3D map, which helps to reconstruct the 3D map of the heart. And at the same time, it takes electrical signals that propagate into the heart. And these electrical signals, the abnormal activity, actually causes AFib. And then you ablate the zones which cause AFib, and then AFib stops or not. So the problem is to actually locate these zones, because the activity in the heart during AFib is very ambiguous. And that's why the efficiency rates now are so low. What we do, we use AI to analyze the electrical activity in the heart. So using what already exists in the operating room, we are compatible with most of the multipolar catheters that are now available with most of the mapping systems. We indicate the zones which are pathological in the heart, and then a physician can ablate these zones, and in a clinical trial, our results are 97% AF termination rate. Yeah. And for the long-term results, the initial visual technique, on which the software is based, we have 18-month follow-up, and it's 85 freedom from any arrhythmia, 85%.
Can you talk a bit about how much training it may take for the docs to learn this, and what does it do in the operating room itself?
Is your question about how easy it is to integrate, or how was the training? Okay, yeah, actually it's really easy. Well, now in the operating room, the software that is used is usually supplied by an engineer who assists all of the cases. Our software is much easier, and we expect around 2 to 3 weeks engineer on premise, and then the doctor can do it themselves. Basically what you have, the interface looks like like this, and this is basically one of the types of the catheters. It's called Pentaray. What you have, when you move your catheter and the zone is pathological, you would have the blinking, you would have the bipoles that are placed on the pathological zones blinking in either orange or red. And that would mean you would tag these zones, and then you would come back to this zone with ablation catheter and basically burn this zone.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much. Well done. Super. In that direction, please. All right, final pitch. He is a part-time comedian and a full-time entrepreneur. He's the founder of B-Trip. Please put your hands together for Vlad.
Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey. Nice to meet you. My name is Vlad, and I'm a CEO of a B-Trip company. And I want to tell you a small story. 6 months ago, I first time came to New York City. And I'm a usual traveler. I'm not a businessman, but still I'm a traveler. And I really want to discover the new city as locals do. What I'm doing, open the, whoa, how it works? Open the Instagram for sure, and start looking through these images, where the places, finding the new travel bloggers and so on. It was pretty hard for me, because I need to get the geo position. After that, need to go to Google Maps, make a point, and so on, as you probably do as well. And we realized that here is the real problem. We don't know how to discover new places like locals. And 9 engineers in our team with 9 years of experience got the solution with this. This is the navigation app that suggests you personalized routes according to your social network preferences. How it works. The AI system inside that gets the posts from social networks, analyze it using the geotags and using the neural networks, and find the places that will be interesting exactly for you according to your social profile. We analyze the weather, distance, likes, comments, rating, and so on. So imagine you're in New York, you have 3 hours to discover a new place, and we just let you put one button, make my trip. It would provide you the best trip ever. This is how this process looks like. We analyzing the data from social networks, images, are they attractive or not, posts, comments, who made these comments, who made this post, and so on. We realize that our main customers is travelers and businesses as well. So, and we came to influencers and say, hey, how much are you? And these influencers told us that this is 334 million users that pay to travel influencers that tell the routes. With 5% commission of these guys, it's 6 million potential users for us. The travel bloggers' money is the selling the routes or sightseeing and sightseeing shows. And we sell this pure PDF file through one travel blogger. This is our test. One blogger, $30 per route, and 300 sales per 1 week of test. So this is $900 for one travel blogger per week. We created the tool that allowed this travel blogger to easily link their Instagram account, find the places that they want to create the routes through, create these routes, post this in our marketplace inside the application. And this is the dashboard, how they can track what they are doing. This is how the marketplace looks like. Usually in travel helpers market, cost per user is $1. For us, cost per user is 13 centimos because we use this influencer marketing tool. Our economy for this year and next year, 20% per route only. $6 per user per year is our user return strategy. And we will earn $2 million per year in this and the next year. In general, only bloggers with the same strategy can get us $12 million per year. This is the 6 million users that I told about. The general economy, including our AI system, that we can take 80% of revenue with $20 per user will get us $300 million per year. How it works, we'll share the revenue with our partners, potential partners. So we take a lead from OTA or hotels or car rentals, and at the same time we said, hey, this is the additional value for your users. Just share it and you will get the money. This is our potential revenue per year, like full possible revenue. In this stage, we have 32K users, 90 of them are active, and 24 bloggers onboarded. This leads us $8,750 per 3 months of our entire test. We started working with the biggest guys. This is the JTB, Federation of Guides, because this is like one of the famous people that can create the routes inside, and start talking to the biggest company for sure. We started our potential partnership with JTB in Japan and Tokyo a couple weeks ago, and we want to become the partners of Olympic Games. This is our team. This is how much investments we need right now. So this is for sure development, for marketing, for going to US market and Japan market deeply. Every trip becomes a journey of adventures. Thank you for your attention.
Well done. Hold on to that. Any questions? Yes, on that side.
Sure. So if just yesterday, Google really relaunched their Google Travel. Yeah, we have Airbnb trips. Those are the big guys that are trying to really get into the travel space, and then also the travel providers want to have direct to them. So you're trying to insert yourself in the middle of this. How are you going to separate yourself out? You've got some pretty stiff competition.
Sure. So the main idea for us is the first thing to become a provider between the travel bloggers and end users. And this will provide the platform for these travel bloggers. I mean, the influencer marketing right now is rapidly developed. So for us, it's very good. In the same time, we'll get the users and we will get the data to analyze. And our AI that I'm told about in the very beginning will become a bit better and better and better. And after that, we can sell the routes to the big businesses. Let's say this is in Milan. This is the small shop that make, I don't know, the unique leather bags. And we can lead the offline traffic to these guys. This is like how that's step-by-step developed. I know that a lot of companies right now there, but what makes us really unique is the AI, for sure, in the one hand. In the other hand, the strategy, how to make the set of steps to develop everything, like all of this industry. So, and for sure, this is pretty good for us that Google relaunched their travel, how to say, I don't know.
All right, quick response here.
Just so I understand a little better, you said a lot of stuff, and I was just trying to understand, are you using AI to create through all this social network signal itineraries for people, or are you using an influencer two-sided marketplace for influencers to do it, or are you using AI to give tools for the influencers to create bespoke trip recommendations for customers?
I got it. So in the very beginning, we used the AI to generate the routes. So this part of functionality is like free inside our application, but we need the data, we need the users, we need the acquisition strategy. That's why we use the influencer markets. For us, just buy the advertising from influencers, it's extremely expensive. So we provide a tool for them that they can earn money inside our application as well. So this is like a acquisition strategy that generating the money, generating the user, that generated the data that can be used for our AI as well. So the end point of our this business journey is to develop our AI and sell the thing to businesses. Did I answer for a question? Perfect.
Questions from the floor? Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? Just people scratching their heads and their ears. That's totally fine. Excellent. Okay. Oh, question over here.
I guess I missed your target customers. Who are supposed to pay for the service?
In the very beginning, this is the travelers. So in the very beginning, this is the B2C. So the followers or the bloggers will want to make the footstep after the blogger, where these famous people were. And they will pay per route, like $10 per route, that's all. And after that, that will be the businesses where we'll grow the amount of users inside, and we'll develop our AI more with this data. After that, we will lead the offline traffic of people to these businesses, to restaurants, shops, and other. So this is 2. Okay. Thanks.
All right, Vlad, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well done.